Well, looks like we finally be arriving in Kemperbad. Going to be good to conclude some business at least and get some coin in. Kemperbad ain't such a bad port, really. Folks tend to act a little fancy around here, which I ain't so fond of. Just because they're a free burg, technically only paying their taxes in dues straight to the Emperor himself and not some noble lord or lady. But in a town like that so close to several borders and so on was always going to cause a lot of trouble. Then again, it is a good spot on the river. From there, we head to Wickendorf. I ain't looking forward to that, if I'm honest. But when I give my word, well, I give my word. I hope we can get what we need. Be done with that place quickly. Then all of us can be coming back north and moving on to better climes. Sigmar willing. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. It is approaching the early afternoon as our three travellers make their way back to the boat, the Berrybell, after having had an interesting few hours in the town of Kemperbad. It seems as if all the buying and selling is over, and as soon as you arrive back at the boat, Yosef quickly greets you, giving you each a little pouch of coin, 4 gold crowns each. So all of you now actually are starting to have a little bit of a purse upon yourselves, which is good. Still, there are things to be spoken about. What do you talk about as you meet up again after your initial investigations?
Well, I will produce the notes, and I will say that I happened upon our old friends, well, not our friends really, Castor Lieberung's friends. They were very concerned about him and about how he had apparently turned into a traitor. They were supposed to deliver this message, which unfortunately I'm unable to read, but perhaps you can help me with that, Siegfrieda.
Yes, of course, I will do my best.
Then, Siegfried, as you read the message aloud, you'll notice, first of all, it is written in Reichspiel. No names, no addresses, just a handwritten note. It says, "Enough is enough. We have more important things to be doing than chasing after an absconding Magister Impedimante. It is seeming at this point that the rumours are true about you, sir. Wherever this message finds you, know this. You are to return to Middenheim with the gold crowns at once. If you do not, this will be the final proof of your treachery, and you will suffer the full wrath that we have to offer. I am willing to believe that this has all been an act of madness, perhaps being pursued by a bounty hunter, but enough is enough. Either return to us as soon as possible, or be branded a traitor." And thus ends the message.
Is it signed, or is there a symbol, or anything like that?
No signs, no symbols.
Magister Impedimante, is that the Lady Herzon then?
You don't know that. The only meaning that word has to you was that was in those original documents the bounty hunter had. He was saying that you're the name of the Magister Impedimante, Castor Lieberung, I seem to recall. These were in the notes the bounty hunter had, which seemed to have a lot of correspondence with people trying to find this Castor Lieberung and find out his name. Middenheim was mentioned then as well, I seem to remember.
And so Middenheim is where we would go if we wanted to meet with the sender of this letter.
Does seem logical. Unfortunately, it doesn't give a location.
No, it's a large place.
But then, of course, you realise that's probably because Castor Lieberung is supposed to know the location.
Let's think back a moment. Why is this Castor Lieberung so important? So important that this group has got agents in every settlement up and down the river looking for him. What do we actually know of Castor Lieberung?
Not a lot. Remembering those notes from before, and again, I think you still have them, so you'd be okay to check them again. Only that he was in Null. Apparently he was suspected to then be in Middenheim. There was some correspondence back and forth that was confirmed true. And, well, when you found him dead, he was on a coach that was travelling from Middenheim to Altdorf. You also know he was doing so because of an inheritance of 20,000 gold crowns that apparently was a trap for him.
The gold crowns. So what? That's what they want. They want the money. They want the money that he would have been able to pick up. They're wondering why he hasn't come back with that.
I was under the impression that the money was never real, that the money was a trap the money was being used by the Inquisition to lure Castor Lieberung into their clutches.
Yes, but Castor's friends might have thought that it was real. They might have thought that this was something that was waiting for them. Of course, they would want that. That would be valuable resources for whatever dark purposes they have.
No, that's fair. And in more fairness, we also fell for it, so...
20,000 gold crowns. It is an attractive offer, no doubt about that. All right. We also know some things about Castor Lieberung, right? That he's supposedly involved in dark magic and stuff like that, right? That was somehow implied previously, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Sadly, the only person who could have answered that better is very dead, and you never actually spoke to him properly. But that does seem to be what you gathered from his notes, at least.
All right. Well, they want that money. That much is clear.
They want the money, or apparently you will be officially labelled a traitor, and will regret it. That seems to be the tone of the letter.
Huh. Well, I don't have the money. I can't give them what they want, even if I wanted to. And I'm not going to be able to convince them that I'm not him. I mean, if I had absconded with the 20,000 gold crowns and wanted to get them off my back, I would, one could imagine trying to pull off something like that. It wouldn't be very easy. But yeah, I think this isn't going to end very well. I don't know. We're going to have to try to get him off our backs somehow. Otherwise, eventually, they're going to lay an ambush for us, I'm sure.
Lay an ambush for us. Again.
Well, yes. Perhaps they'll be luckier next time. Perhaps they'll catch us slipping.
Maybe, although... I'm thinking back to when we broke into the barrister's office. It wasn't the Inquisitor that saved me. Oh boy.
What about the other information, Kruger, that you discovered today? Do you tell your friends that?
I will, of course, reveal everything that I have learned.
Indeed, and therefore, I imagine you, Heinrich, will mention the tower.
Of course. I can't guarantee that it belongs to anyone named Heuschober, but there can't be that many towers. In fact, as far as I can tell, there is the one. So if we're looking for a witch or a wizard who lives in it, that is where we should go. And I'll pay special attention to mentioning that she apparently travels quite often, so if we played our cards right, we might be able to investigate it without risk of being discovered by her.
That would be very good.
It would make a change, considering the other places we've broken into.
Oh, well, there's no telling how many guards or servants would be there, but I would rather face 10 men sword to sword than have to deal with another spell being flung my way, or your way, as it were.
Yes, that was quite painful.
I don't know how long we would take to stake the joint out. How long we'd have to wait to see whether or not she was truly there, but it's an option.
It is. Or we could just wing it. I mean, it's gone well for us so far, mostly.
What we need is a distraction, some kind of large mammal to set on fire. No, I'm only joking, of course, my friends. Well, I also have some news, although it's considerably more trivial than what you've uncovered. I am now, according to the laws of the Empire, a qualified physician.
Congratulations.
So now you no longer need to worry when I'm operating on you as to whether my actions are legal or approved by the guild. They are.
Well, that's not trivial at all. That's a tremendous occasion. We should celebrate.
Well, thank you. I had that exact same thought. Once our business here is done and we're underway, I intend to buy some decent brandy with some of this gold, among other select liquors, and bring them aboard so we can celebrate something good happening. It's all too often we focus on the dire threats ahead of us rather than the good deeds we've accomplished, and while this is a deed for myself, we can treat this as a general celebration. Consider all that we have survived and overcome so far.
Yes. I do think we have deserved that.
So, there's still some day left before the afternoon and evening. What do the three of you do next?
Well, the tower awaits, right? That's where we want to go. So perhaps take it out a bit, and then see if we can break in when things are a little calmer.
Mm-hmm.
I know it takes an hour to get out that way. Is this the kind of situation where we might be able to talk our way onto riding a cart as it leaves town and saving us some time on the trip?
You might, but you have no idea if any carts are heading out that way. So that would be a bit of a, you don't know if there are carts heading out that way. You'd have to find that out, while just walking straight there is obviously all completely up to you. Also, walking straight there would enable you to stake the place out a lot better than suddenly getting off a cart.
My thought was that we would start walking down the road, and then if someone comes driving along behind us, we could just whistle and see if they might be willing to let us just hang off the back edge of that and ride down.
Well, there's no harm in trying if it does happen.
I understand the others might not have that kind of enthusiasm, but I still have stitches to take care of.
And so you begin your journey. Sadly, Heinrich, no carts pass. There is an official road, but it seems to get quite small as it veers off in the direction you're told to actually head in. This place is not on the official main roads. Passerby tells you that there's not much out there eventually, especially getting into deeper Tabak land. This is all forest and wasteland. Still, you make your way on foot. It's not a bad day. The forests loom around you, but you're still slightly, at least in the realms of farms, at least for the first 30-40 minutes. Eventually, the road becomes smaller, and you begin heading into forest. Still, it's the middle of the day. As long as you don't stay out here too long, you think to yourself, you should be fine. Finally, you see a tower ahead of you. This is a squat tower, 2 stories, made of reddish stone. Seems just like any old guard post, really. What draws your attention immediately, of course, is that there are people outside. 2 people on horseback, armoured, weapons, and there's a 3rd horse, currently with no one on it, and they're hanging around the entrance to this tower. There seems to be only one main entrance, a big wooden door. There are a couple of windows on the 2nd floor, but you'd have to rappel up to them. What do the 3 of you do? It's been about an hour, cross-country walking. Not too bad. The day is still young. You haven't been spotted yet. What do you do?
The guards, they appear mercenary sorts and not road wardens or soldiers, right?
They do indeed. You can tell road wardens, they always have official big contracts on their arms and big feathered hats. These just look like travelling mercenaries to you, Heinrich.
Fair enough. And then, this might be a bit more of a stretch, but the horse that is not currently mounted, I'm guessing if you're a wizard, you might have a fancier mount? Is it a horse that looks expensive, anything like that?
No, it looks exactly the same as all the other people's horses. Possibly a rented horse as opposed to an owned horse.
Alright, I will present this information to my comrades as if it took an incredible feat of deduction to come to.
Interesting, I say.
I shrug. Yes, well, good observation.
Well, of course, the thinking being that if this woman is as powerful as she says she is, wouldn't she have a larger retinue or a finer steed?
Yes, exactly. So we may be dealing with a skeleton crew of sorts.
Is there any way we can get those guards to head off? Perhaps, create some kind of situation that would make them want to leave the tower?
I start to smile and then quickly conceal it, because I'm not going to be suggesting another fire today.
The tower you said it's a guard tower. Does it come with a stable, not a full-size stable, of course, but a lean-to perhaps adjacent that you would store an animal in?
No, it doesn't, it seems. If it did have one of those once, it's long gone. No, it's simply a stone tower rising up in the air. Windows are interesting shape, but that's it. It doesn't look like a massive tower. It's about the size of a big house, really, you'd say.
Mm-hmm. And then how are the sight lines? Would we be able to sneak roundabout without having to get too far away, or is it like a wide open field surrounding the base of this thing?
You might be able to venture into the forest and get in from there. Otherwise it's the road, and that just heads straight in front of the main door and where these people are.
Well, let's perhaps try and take that more discreet way than through the forest, trying to avoid these folks, if at all possible.
Yes, I can't see any kind of confrontation that ends well.
No, best not take that risk. Even if we can handle them, we do have a lot of traveling ahead of us, and I don't want to do that with a half-broken body.
Agreed.
So yes, the forest. I'll try and study the situation then and see if I can figure out how I could get into the tower from there.
In that case, Kruger, could you please roll a stealth check? Don't add your urban on this one, I'm afraid. Forests are a lot more trickier than cities.
They certainly are. I'm not used to forests. Not really comfortable here. But it does go quite well, even so, and I end up with 2 degrees of success.
Then you begin making your way into the woods with the others. Be careful not to go too far. Already the wood is becoming quite thick and dark, even just a bit off the road. This is the nature of the woods, after all. Untamed lands, even for imperial lumberjacks. But you stick close, and you manage to avoid these guards, or at least these people just watching the road, and see behind the tower there's a lone window you might be able to get up to with your grappling hook, although at the same time it looks like it's barred. Might be difficult to get open, might take some time. What do? Time is passing. Are you going to try and do something quick, or wait a little bit, stake the place out? What do, the 3 of you?
Do I have any tools that I would be able to utilize to open that window up, or does it look like a lost cause?
You do. Chisel. Probably take some time, though.
But it would be loud, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Would they be able to notice?
Yes. At least they would notice if you were there and they were standing by at the time.
In that case, is there going to be benefit to someone who's fast on their feet? And I look at Heinrich. Being on the other side of that tower, acting as the lost traveller or something like that. Make a lot of noise about where the hell am I? Get as much attention as possible while Kruger does his thing. I know we've been through this dance before, back in Bogenhafen, and it didn't necessarily go well.
I could give it an old busker's try.
Let's do it. I'll start my work as soon as you have them distracted.
Well, if things turn for the worst, I can always rely on my excellent acting skills, but then my plan would be this, to circle back around the wood, get far enough away to where the shot might echo, fire off a pistol round, and then go running up to them. So having created a disturbance that lends some credence to my story, and then just start pleading for them to follow me into the woods, because I'll think of what was chasing me, or mutants, right? That's popular. Let's tell them it was mutants, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, then. And so Heinrich will make his way off into the woods, fire off a pistol shot, and run in front of the tower. All this is happening while you, Siegfried, and Kruger are hidden and watching to see how things go. The 2 people immediately react to a gunshot. One of them draws a crossbow, and the other goes to his club. And then they look at you, Heinrich, as you run down the road. What do? You have their attention.
I'm not screaming hysterically, but panting, trying to make as much of a show out of how exhausted I am, muttering, "It was they said there wasn't, but it had the arms and the gills. There's mutants, sir," and waving them in my direction.
The woman kind of gives you a bit of an odd look. The man raises a hand. Whoa! Who are you? What's going on? What mutants? Where?
I was back. I used my last shot, but they were coming up out of the ground, like from the bog. It was terrible.
All right, calm down. He starts looking in the tree line. I don't see him yet. What happened? Mutants? Who are you? You a farmer or something?
Yes, I was out. I was hoping to check on some snares, and I stumbled across something, and I thought it was, but no, it was a hand. And every time they tried to get an actual story out of me, I'm going to continue to just describe a monster instead of what actually happened until they catch me in it.
Of course, the man is sort of looking at you very confused. The woman then just nods and goes, "All right, what should we do? Go and get her." "Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll go get her." And she then dismounts off her horse and goes to the door and knocks on it heavily. What do you do, Heinrich? Keep with your story for the moment?
Absolutely. But even then, like, her, is she a guard, a marshal, a general?
No! This is a fucking private residence, you moron!
Oh, but she seems so important. But who is she? How can she help?
None of your business. Just shut up for a second.
I want to ride the razor's edge of antagonizing them to maintain their interest, but not getting in trouble.
Roll a charm check.
I'm going to spend a fortune to be better at this. That'll do. 28 under 40, so 2 levels of success. Oh, wait! I'm attractive! I can use the singles for 8 degrees of success.
You certainly can. The woman seems to look at you with some interest, and they definitely are distracted by you, although you do notice whatever's happening, they are getting the attention of other people. Meanwhile, Kruger, Siegfried, what are you doing? Heinrich has managed to get their attention. They're not running off anywhere, they're looking at him very confused, but he's definitely got their attention, although you do see one of them going to the main door of the tower and knocking on it loudly. What do you do?
I think I would still end up catching their attention if I tried something now, right?
Maybe. Up to you. You want to wait a little longer?
Well, if I can begin my work softly first, then I will do so, just to make sure we don't lose any time. We don't know how long he's actually going to be able to keep these folks out of here.
Certainly, you could try the initial grapple hook.
Yes, I will do that.
Then please make an athletics check. Or a dexterity check.
The first is a failure. I will take a point of fortune, and that's better. 19 under 42 in athletics.
Well, you certainly are able to aim your grappling hook and get that window. Siegfrieda, what are you doing? The other two seem to have things underway. Are you just going to stay out of sight, or is there anything you'd like to do to aid if you can?
No, I feel like I should be doing something to help. And what I'm weighing up with both hands is another distraction too obvious, or is it exactly what our burglar needs to get inside? So what I will do is travel up the main path toward the tower, if I may. I'm not rushing, I'm not hysterical, I'm not screaming. Like my good colleague. But I am walking along with my staff, and I will look bewildered at what is going on with Heinrich. And I will try and speak above him. Excuse me!
I'm going to pretend that I have no idea who this is.
I'm trying to address the guards. Excuse me?
What?
What's going on here, I say, gesturing at Heinrich.
We've got a mad fool who's come out of the woods and says there's mutants, which I don't see any of. So I'd get a move on if I were you. And at this point, the door opens the tower, and a small little halfling woman pops her head out. She seems to have some grey in her eyes, an old aged halfling. Maybe her sight's a bit damaged as well. What's all this? What's all this? What's all this? Let Miss Heuschober know that we need to... there could be trouble. All right. Hang on. And she goes...
excuse me, I say, trying to... is Miss Heuschober in?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm just going to go get her. Hello.
Oh, so... And I shouted pretty loudly. So the lady of the tower is definitely in.
Yes, no, I'll go get her at once. My goodness, all this commotion, oh my.
Oh no, that's quite all right. I just have quick business with I suppose you, on behalf of the Physicians Guild.
Oh, wonderful, very good. I'll go get her. Yes.
No. I need to speak to you. You might as well stay here. I wouldn't wish to intrude.
You notice the halfling has a little broom on them, and they give you a bit of a tap with it and go, "Now, young lady, do not be telling me what I'll be doing. Rudeness."
Excuse me. I'm here to spread good health and medicines.
Exactly, and I'm going to go get my lady right now. And this halfling woman just turns very rudely and stalks back into this hallway. You can see there's a hallway beyond the door opening. You see the man looking even more confused, and then the woman. She just looks at you, Heinrich. Right. I'm not seeing any mutants popping out of the ground, sir.
Well, no, of course they wouldn't be chasing me. But you wouldn't want to go to bed tonight in your tower knowing they were out there.
If I may, while I was walking this path, there was definitely activity in those woodlands. I assumed it was hunters or even poachers.
Oh, they're definitely hunting. They're mutants hunting for human flesh.
There was a bad odour about that place, I say, looking at the guard with a certain solemnity. I think it's certainly worth checking out. I'm no expert on mutants, mind you, but...
So, Kruger, what are you doing? Your friends, both now, are definitely making a very big distraction. You have no idea if this is good or not, but they're definitely drawing a lot of attention. What are you doing?
Well, and one thing, I did deliberately shout that the lady of the tower is in, so that hopefully he would hear.
If I have heard that, I will be careful, because I definitely don't want to go in there while she's there. Is there something I can do to just continue getting closer to opening this up without... well, alerting whoever's inside?
Not really. You'd kind of need to be up there and working on it, if you get my meaning. You can't really do much from just below. You could start climbing, though. If you're very careful, you'll at least be up there.
I'll do that, then.
Roll an athletics check.
16.
And so you begin very carefully clambering up the tower. This is not easy. Quite painful, actually. Scaling a tower, even if it's only a second story, but you are at least used to this. You get to the window. You don't go straight up just yet, but you can just see where the bars are. It's going to take a while to start chiseling them off, maybe like 10-20 minutes, but maybe you'll get lucky and it will come off easy. Meanwhile, at the front, the commotion finally stops as someone comes out of the tower. You, of course, recognize her immediately, Siegfrieda. She is dressed once again in a fine, noble robe, although she currently has a travelling cloak on, long red hair, golden earrings, golden rings, some sort of staff at her side. She sort of comes out and just looks at you, then Heinrich, and just says very calmly, "Please shut up and explain who you two are. You." And she looks at you, Siegfrieda. You. We meet again. How unusual.
I try and act as if I don't recognise her at first, despite the fact it was only, I suppose, around a month ago that we last encountered each other, and then I display my recognition. "Oh, my lady, I had no idea it was you who lived in this tower." I drop to a knee. "As you know, I owe you a great deal."
You Don't owe me anything at all. What a strange thing to say.
Well, I mean, just the advice you gave me back in Bogenhafen and the time that you didn't seek my punishment for my medicinal mishap back, in the deep and distant past.
She's looking at you very carefully, and then she looks at Heinrich and says, "Now, what's all this about mutants jumping out of the ground, sir?"
Honestly, ma'am, that's the long and the short of it. I was telling your man and your woman here, I was out in the woods looking to check my snares, and something leapt up the ground at me, and then I'll draw from memory of the mutants we saw in the river to give it some credence.
She wrinkles her nose a little, looks to the east. The man and the woman are now silent, just watching her. She just looks at you and says, "And? Oh, I see, I'm a wizard. I'm supposed to go and destroy them for you. Is that it?"
You're a wizard?
You didn't know that?
No, I was running for the two armed folks sitting out. But if you're a wizard, this will be easy. You could make that. Begging, of course, that you would use your power on our behalf. I don't mean to presume, but that would make it, of course, no small feat at all.
Indeed, it would be very simple. Well, thank you for your information. You can go now. Unless there was something else.
You're going to deal with it, though?
No.
You're going to send them to deal with it, though?
No.
We're just going to leave them there.
I'm sure if you run to town and get the watch will do what they'll do. Although, oh dear, I think you both made a terrible mistake when you said mutants. There are no mutants in the Empire, remember?
Right.
The two guardsmen look a little confused for a moment, and then they kind of also seem to realize something, and then kind of just nod.
Oh, well then, yes, well, thank you for, I guess I'll, and then putting on a defeated facade of, well, I can't go talking about mutants, so they're going to throw me in the crazy person prison. And I don't know Siegfrieda in this instance, so I will start walking back towards the town with the hope that I can hook a right the second no one's looking at me and catch up with Kruger.
You see them all watching you go, and then the woman turns back to you, Siegfrieda.
I give a nervous smile. All I'm really hoping for is that between Heinrich and myself we can keep her outside for long enough for Kruger to do whatever he needs to do inside. That's my hope. So Heinrich has done a damn good job of saying, "Mutants, are you sure? Aren't you going to do anything? What about you?" So yeah, now I need to lengthen that stretch.
Indeed, she stares at you and says, "Why are you here, young girl? Are you following me?"
No, absolutely not. Not at all. I had no idea this was your tower. I mean, obviously, towers like this, huts in the woods, barrows, distant castles. I try and think of other interesting structures. Places that are isolated like this, my point is that rarely does anyone know who dwells in a place like this, so how would I know that you dwelled here?
Why did you come to this tower, then?
Oh, well, I have grand news. Well, I don't know how grand you might think it is. It's obviously deeply personal to me, but there are some things, of course, in everyone's life that I think the poets said that everyone has a journey that they chart through the stars, and if you can find your comet at something or other, I'm not sure. I'm not really a student of literature. Again, time waste.
Again, a heavy smell of lavender, really thick now you're this close. And also as you're this close, something else, something rather pungent, actually. Maybe under the lavender.
Well, I'll get... I suppose I should cut to the point, shouldn't I?
Yes.
I was recently accepted by the Physicians Guild in Kemperbad, and I smile.
And I care why?
Well, as a physician, it is my duty to the people of Kemperbad to administer treatments for illnesses, for in case of plague, aches, pains, sprains, breaks, ruptures, prolapses.
Oh, I see. I already have a physician, I'm afraid, although you're a lot more pretty than him. Still, if that's all, good day.
Are you sure there's nothing I can help you with? I recall your condition as it was before when we met all those years ago. If it's still playing up, I can recommend an ointment.
No, I'm going to be going now, and so are you. And as she says this, you note she's heading to the third horse.
Right, well, in that case I won't waste any more of your time.
Well, I suppose I won't be seeing you again as you're not following me.
I would imagine not. I mean, how could fate conspire for us to cross each other's paths more than 3 times in a lifetime?
She gives you a bit of a smirk. She looks at the other 2, nods at them, and they all get on their horses and then ride off, riding back to Kemperbad quite quickly on their horses.
I give a perfunctory wave as they gallop past me.
Kruger, it seems that the people in front of the tower are now riding off on horseback. You see this woman with the red hair, the 2 guards, and, well, they're gone. They're heading back to Kemperbad, it seems. What do you do?
Well, now I feel a bit foolish, sitting up here by the window trying to get in the hard way. If the door is right down there, perhaps that'll be an easy way in.
Maybe, although you thought you heard... Wait, you definitely heard there was another voice. There was a quite shrill voice at the door as well. Was there someone else?
Ah. So it's not completely deserted, huh? How does it look like now in terms of getting this window open? I have less to worry about now, I suppose, but how much more time would it take?
Probably 10, 20, 30 minutes, you think, if you start working on it.
I suppose I'll make my way down then. I need to gather up with the others, just to decide what to do.
In that case, that's what you do. You head back down, but it won't take you long to get back up again. And finally, Siegfried and Heinrich, you all meet again behind the woods. It's very quiet out here now. What do the 3 of you do?
What happened? Ask.
I tried the old mutants in the wood trick, and it didn't quite work the way I wanted it to.
Well, you say that. We kept them occupied for long enough. Well, we kept them occupied for a while, but it doesn't look like, and I look at Kruger, we achieved a great deal.
No, unfortunately it's going to be quite loud to open it up that way. I could do it now, but there's someone else there, right? Someone else that would notice what we're doing, so...
I would suggest it might still be worthwhile. We know that the most dangerous person in the building has departed, and we know that with her went some guards. There's a halfling within, a pest more than anything else, based on how she was poking me with a broom handle.
Alright, what do you think? Should we try and force our way in through the door, or I continue working on the window and we try to get in through there?
Well, I suppose the question is, what are we hoping to find here? If it's evidence of criminality, we already have it. We have a letter from her to one of the conspirators in Bogenhafen. So, perhaps just evidence that she was here is sufficient. We know that she is the wizard of this place. And we already know the kinds of things she was up to, so if Kemperbad has anything constituting a city watch, it might suffice to present that, but I do feel like we would be missing out on unravelling this conspiracy further if we do leave her tower unmolested.
No, I share those concerns. If nothing else, there might be more to the mystery of Caster Lieberung in there, and I would rather we get our hands on it than the Kemperbad Watch.
True. Alright, well, I'll work on the window then, and let's see what the little pest decides to do.
Very well then, please roll a dexterity check here, as this is requires a bit of handy skills with your chisel. You're trying to be quiet, you see, as you do it.
Yes, indeed. I'll have to use another fortune. Alright, that is 2 degrees of success.
Siegfrieda, Heinrich, you're just waiting. This is just time. Time passing. But you realize that poor Kruger does need to be careful. If he's too loud, obviously, it will draw attention. And so finally, you're able to get this grate off this window. And you think you could finally get in. It's just taken you an awfully long time, but you think you've been quiet, at least while you've been doing it.
That's good. I will then immediately begin to make my way inside. My hope is that I can get downstairs and open up the door for my friends so that we can explore this place together.
Well, you barrel in through the window and find yourself in a bedroom. There is a nice 4-poster bed in the corner. There is a portrait of a woman with long red hair. Possibly this woman, you think to yourself. A big wooden chest in the corner. A desk with a bunch of drawers on it. There's a fine mirror in the wall, and as you go and look at the mirror, you realise it looks out into the room beyond. You're on the 2nd floor. There's a big staircase going down. It leads to the 1st floor. How interesting that there's a sort of indoor mirror like this. And as you're then thinking of getting out, you can then hear, as you just creak at the door, someone downstairs humming very loudly.
Well, if I am where I am exactly where I want to be. This is where any proof would be, I think. This is not the halfling's room. This is Herson's room. So I'll focus on searching this room then, hoping to find evidence in here. Thinking that, well, surely it must be here if it is anywhere.
Indeed. Begin quickly searching the room as best you can. What's this? Ah, the wooden chest. You could try opening that if you want.
Yes, I'll do just that.
That's a hard lockpick check, please. -20.
Okay, this would be my last fortune then.
Maybe save it. Or not, up to you. You don't know. Again, there's lots of things to look at, not just a chest. So it's up to you if you spend the fortune point or not.
I do want this one. Yes! Alright, that's 1 degree of success.
You spend some time playing with this lock. Again, time is passing. This is quite irritating, but eventually you're able to sort of force it open. And inside is a treasure trove. Your eyes widen. A bag of coins. How many is that? 10? 20 gold crowns? There's a bunch of silver plates. There's some silver earrings. A whole load of jewellery. This is a chest full of treasure.
I will utilize the fact that I'm stealing from someone who is bad. That's alright. That's always been alright with me. So I'll just try and pocket the things that look the most valuable and that won't slow me down too much.
Well, you think the pouches, you could probably take 10 gold, and that's alright. Maybe these rings, maybe take 6 of those. That's 10 silver shillings each, okay. Some of the earrings. Alright, you think you're probably pocketing maybe 10 gold's worth of valuables. Unfortunately, you think the rest of it would start weighing you down, unless, of course, you wanted to take the entire chest with you. But again, that would be hard. You might be able to throw it out the window, but that would definitely make a lot of noise.
Yes. Now I'll close the box again, and I'll look for a desk or something that might contain any kind of correspondence or, well, evidence. Obviously, it's very difficult for me to identify what would be important here, but I guess I'll just have to hope that well, whatever is important also looks important.
Certainly, make me a perception test. -20.
Well, that's where it comes back to bite me. That is a failure, and I have no more fortune to spend.
You begin looking around the room carefully, looking through the desk. You're not finding anything in here. At least you don't think so. You check the walls for a moment, and then you feel this is a bit of a waste of time. Why don't you check? There's another door in here as well, actually. Okay, you poke your head through there, and that's a full study. Ah, this is much better. There's a very strange thing on the wall. What's that? It's like some sort of stuffed bear. Bloody hell. Quite intimidating looking, but it isn't real. And then there is, again, a bunch of shelves with books on, and a larger desk, and there's like a bin next to the desk as well. Maybe there's something in here. You think you've done the bedroom.
I will go into the study then and look at that. You said the desk and the bin, whatever I might be able to get from there.
Looking around. What's this? You pull out a drawer, and you see maps. Maps where something has been circled. You quickly look over it. Think to yourself, it's a similar looking map to the one you saw in the tower. You think this is the same place. Yes, it is. This is the same place, somewhere just maybe a couple of days from Camperbad, somewhere in Barren Hills. That's what it says here, and it's been circled. And there's some astronomical notations again. Again, you don't understand them, Kruger, but you've seen them enough times now, like, you think these are the same sort of things.
Well, that would prove that she has been looking for the same thing, or I've found the same thing, who knows, but she's out after whatever that person was into. That much is clear. Alright, is this small enough for me to bring with me, or is it a big map?
It's small enough to bring with you. You also notice a letter. It's kind of just been shoved underneath. Interesting. Again, it has writing on it. Sadly, you can't read.
Excellent, I will take that as well. It must be important.
Very good. Time's passing. You suddenly hear outside the humming kind of stop, and you think you can hear someone moving about, not directly outside this room, but sort of downstairs. What do you do?
If I don't see anything else that immediately stands out to me, I figure this would be the time to get out before we're found out. Don't know what that might lead to, and...
Yes, you don't think you've cleared the entire building, but you realise this is a large building, and going room by room is going to take some time, and you'll definitely be discovered eventually. It's also getting late in the day, and your friends are both outside just waiting for you. So yes, what do you do? Okay,
well, I'll take this as my time to leave, and, well, a lot of people are waiting. Lena is waiting, and my friends are waiting. So I will try to clean up as best as I can after myself, close anything I have left open. Obviously, they're going to notice that the things have been stolen, but hopefully they won't be looking at that immediately. So, yeah, that's what I do, and then I begin climbing out of the window.
Certainly. Heinrich Siegfried, in about 30 minutes. You're a bit anxious, but finally, after having entered, Kruger pops his head out.
Would it be imprudent to suggest... I know you said it might create noise, but surely Kruger could toss down another pouch or two without alerting the people inside. We don't have to push the entire chest out the window, right?
It's up to him.
Yeah, call up quietly. Throw more down.
I'll poke my head back in then to the bedroom, and those silvers that I left, the ones that would weigh me down, I guess I'll just chuck those down then.
Certainly. Then, in that case, raining from the sky come 10 gold crowns in 2 pouches. They scatter everywhere. And then 12 silver plates. Some of them get a bit dented as they fall to the ground.
Oh, I'm laughing. I am loving this. This feels like a heist.
Now we're having an adventure.
Does indeed. And already you now have 28 gold crowns straight up. Of course, the other things will need to be sold. That's 12 silver plates worth 1 gold crown each. And 12 silver rings, which would be 10 silver each.
I will gladly stuff whatever I can into pockets and pouches and packs.
Yep, you are able to carry all these things, although, of course, now you do look loaded with plates, rings, and...
That's fine, it's getting dark. We just need to head straight back to the river.
Yes, let's get going.
And let's not take the path either, because we don't know when they might ride back, and we don't want to get caught carrying her belongings.
That's true.
And so do all three of you now leave the tower and try and head back to the Barey?
I think staying any longer is a risk we don't want to take.
Yes, and I'll hand over the letter also to Siegfrieda.
Wonderful bedtime reading.
Indeed. And so the three of you eventually make your way back to Camperbad. Takes another hour. And finally now, evening is descending as you make your way back down the docks and back on board the Barey. Substantial treasure now on you. The gold crowns, of course, are fine, but even the silver, well, it can be sold somewhere. You see Joseph watching you come back and gives you a bit of a look like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you, Free. Where have you been? What's that you carrying? Is that silver?"
It seems you're not the only one with a bit of the mercantile skills rubbing off. We've decided to enter the plate trading business.
All right, lads. Well, all right. We'll get on board. We were just cooking some food. And as you board, Rena kind of comes over and pokes her head at you and says, "You've been up to something, haven't you, my friend?"
Oh, just using the old skills that we picked up back in Nuln. It paid off. And I'll chuck over another gold crown to her. I think you'll need this one.
She smiles and quickly catches the coin. And so, after a meal, you're all once again at the bottom of the Barey. The evening is descending. It seems as if your time at Camperbad is done. Joseph is keen to get off early in the morning. He does say, after you three have finished speaking, he wants to have a word with Heinrich, but for the moment, the three of you are together once more. What do you do?
Well, I will be pushing Siegfrieda to read that letter, but before that, perhaps she has something else she wants to do.
No, I feel like going back into town to get some expensive alcohol, as much as I would like to, is pushing my luck. At some point, this Herzen lady is going to realise she has been burgled, and she will be looking for me and for Heinrich, at the very least. So, yeah, stay aboard the boat. Try and encourage Joseph to pull away tonight. I mean, hell, maybe Heinrich can do some sailing while the rest of the crew sleeps. But, yeah, I will definitely look at this note.
It's not too hard to convince him of this, actually. He seems quite keen to be on a move, actually, you notice. So yes, he will actually start easing off the boat, at least a little. And then you will read the note to the others.
And I will look at Heinrich and Kruger and say, if this tells us the bearer of my stolen fortune will be cursed forever, I may just set myself on fire.
It'll be for not even the top 3 worst things that have happened to us so far.
I just smile and laugh at the both of them at that.
The letter simply says, "The person bearing this letter is to be trusted. They are one of us. They should have the funds needed for the expedition. This better turn out as you say it will, Altka. If so, this will be a great boon to us. Be quick, and as soon as you have it, give it to us at once, and you will be rewarded."
Is it signed by Herzen?
No, it's not signed by Herzen. It simply has a sort of crown-like symbol, kind of just... It's faded already at this point, but you think once it was a lot brighter. So it looks like a crown. And that is all it says.
Well, I read it aloud and I frown. Maybe it's just due to the excitement of the day, but I'm not really picking up the meaning of this. Do either of the two of you have any thoughts?
Perhaps, Kruger, it's at that point that you bring out the map, which you would recognise yourself, Siegfrieda, having a good memory. very similar to the maps you saw in that tower, and the exact same general area has been marked. Same math as well, as if someone was trying to do mathematical equations to work something out, the location of something perhaps.
Yes. They were both looking for the same thing. I wonder what it is. It doesn't seem to have been found, or does she just not know that it ended up in Wittgendorf? Is that what she's going to end up figuring out in that case?
Well, again, let us assume that fates are pulling us in this direction. We broke into Wittgenstein's tower ruin. We found in his chest astronomical records from 200 years ago referring to a falling star. Maybe I'm reaching, That was in the uplands, which is an area we are approaching.
Well, just an area you are in now, but soon will be leaving if you continue going down the River Reich.
So that is an area we are in at present, but we won't be for long. One would assume it had been found in the last 200 years and taken somewhere. Presumably, as Wittgenstein was interested in it, he may have recovered it and taken it to Wittgendorf, but it didn't improve that settlement in any measurable way, given it's now considered a plague town.
That's right.
But it could be that she is looking, and again, this may be me connecting dots where they do not need to be connected. It could be that she's looking for this fallen star, given we suspect her of having chaotic affiliation, and it seems to have been spat free from the Chaos Moon.
You also find yourself, Kruger, just remembering that information from earlier. That seemed a bit irrelevant, but wait. Weren't you talking to some people? Is a thing about she was with a man and some people, and they'd gone somewhere, and then they were coming back, and then you went and saw a boat, and there was a familiar-looking man and 2 mercenaries on a boat that was just next to your boat.
I'll relay that to everyone else.
Is this how we find ourselves in a race for some fell artifact?
I suppose so.
Well, regardless of what else we have planned, we certainly can't let her get her hands on it.
No, we can't. We cannot.
Kruger, if you found yourself wanting to just quickly go above deck and check something, you could. Up to you.
Alright, I'll do that.
Then you just do so, and your instinct is, correct. The boat that was next to you is gone.
They've left. They've left.
In fairness, we have a fairly good idea where they're headed.
Indeed. Suppose that's where we have to go then.
As you're saying this on the deck, Rena suddenly comes up as well, having just caught the end of your conversation. Go where? I hope it's where I'm going.
We are indeed. We're headed to Wittgendorf. We're going to find your sister and, let's see if we find something else as well.
As that said, you just see Joseph come on board as well, and motion for you to come over, Heinrich. You got a moment? I don't want to interrupt your friends.
No. Always for you, Uncle.
So, Siegfrieder said we should be going soon, and I agreed. That's why I've set off, because, he looks like he's struggling to speak. He's not distraught, but he's upset about something. You can tell that.
Well, I can tell whatever you have, it's not good news, but we've never hidden the important things from one another, not since at least a few days ago.
I asked around the dock. The Dove checked in, as it should have when it was riding by here. It hasn't checked back in. And no one's seen that the Dove hasn't checked back in or come this way since it went down south.
I know this is the part where I'm supposed to act surprised, but I do not possess my uncle's infinite capacity for hope. From the very beginning, when I ran into a mutant who used to be a friend, then the Green Moon, then the Plague Town, the stars aren't lining up for Heinrich Schelf in this way. So I am, of course, saddened, but perhaps not surprised. So I'll just nod and not force him to say the sentence out loud. And then just take a deep breath of whatever breeze is blowing across the river.
Hey, no, lad, don't give me that look. Don't be jumping to conclusions. All this means is we need to go to Wittgendorf. Regardless now. We just need to, go and check. Just to make sure.
Oh, no, of course. We hold out hope that Sigmar has protected my parents the way Sigmar protects us all.
Of course, lad. Of course. Good, don't be jumping to no conclusions.
Do you know what we can expect to find there?
No. Hard to tell, isn't it? According to some people, everyone's dead. According to others, no, it's still a plague there. Others just say, all the people live in the castle have gone mad. I have no idea what we're going to find down there. Just that it ain't going to be good.
Doesn't bode well for our kin in either case.
No, but have faith. Ymar and Da are tough cookies. We'll find out. We'll find out together.
Shilfs have always been crafty blood, haven't we?
Siegfrieda and Kruger. Heinrich seems to be having a bit of a word with Josef. The two of you find yourself on the boat. Evening descending. What do you two say to each other as the evening seems to be coming to a close? It's been an odd day in Camperbad, that's for sure.
I have had maybe what is the best day of my life.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I cannot stop smiling.
And I've noticed that, and I just say, yeah, I'm happy for you, Siegfrieda. It's been good.
And you know something else? Things might get even more exciting down the river. If Wittgendorf is a plague town, think of all the... Well, it will be horrific, of course. But think of the good I could do in a town suffering from plague. And what I might learn in a place like that. Obviously, we'll have to take certain precautions to ensure we don't become infected with whatever's there, but my mind is already racing with possibilities.
I'm happy to hear that. I wish to help my friend, and I think we'll end up finding her sister there, and I do look forward to see what else we will find. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But yeah, not a bad day. Not a bad day.
Well, if I had any expensive rum or something like that, I would raise a glass with you, but as it is, let's just salute the stars above our heads and be grateful that we survived long enough to live this day.
I'll raise my cup of whatever it is I have. Water, perhaps. Yes. To an exciting journey to Wittgendorf.
And so, Siegfrieda and Kruger, you raise a glass of something on top of the boat as it sails along, seemingly quite high spirits. What about you, Heinrich? Are you feeling in high spirits as well?
I can lie to Josef about this, that's fine. If nothing else, he doesn't need to worry about me. But I've never been one to wallow in my sadness alone. And no matter what's happened to my parents, that news, if I let it hang over me for the duration of this journey, then what's to make of it? I can still find it in myself to celebrate the success of my friend. And perhaps if Siegfrieda has a little joy left over from her accomplishment, she can see fit to share it with me. So I will let them brighten my spirits as we turn our attention to the great success of our young physician.
And so the Barabel begins to sail down the River Reich, down south now, the woods becoming a lot deeper and thicker on both sides of the bank. But at least in this dark place, there is some enjoyment on the boat this evening. I wonder how long it will last.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In the second part of the series, we are tackling Book 2, Death on the Reich. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Antxon, and Graham Barey for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, Skaven are definitely not real.